Let's start learning. Okay? So last time, if hindi nyo po alam, meron po tayong part 1 ng dilution. Just browse my Facebook video albums. Nandun po yung ating part 1 ng dilution. Kung hindi mo magigets ngayon, pwede mo siyang balikan. Tapos saka mo na lang panoorin yung video na to after mo mapanood yung una. Okay, so this is dilution part 2 at ang i-discuss ko for tonight will be the other types of dilution. Okay, as a review, sabi natin ang dilution ay kinocompute natin by the formula dilution is equal to sample over the total volume. At ang composition ng total volume ay sample plus diluent. Okay, so pinagsama ang sample and diluent para magkaroon ka ng total volume of whatever. Okay, so dalawa ang ating formula na pwedeng gamitin to compute our dilution. Again, that will be sample over total volume or sample over sample plus diluent. Okay, last time ang inaral natin how to compute for simple dilution. And when we say simple dilution, we only do one or single dilution. Okay, kung ano man ang maging sagot natin dito at tinanong tayo, ano daw po ang ating dilution factor, babaliktarin lang natin siya. Okay, kasi ang dilution factor is defined as the reciprocal of the dilution ratio. So, for example, ang ating dilution is 1:2 or 1/2, then our dilution factor would be 2. Okay, so that is simple or single dilution. And then sabi natin last time, meron tayong dalawa pang klase. Meron tayong compound dilution and meron tayong serial dilution. Okay, to make things easier for us, this is the main difference between the two. Pag sinabi mong compound and serial, pareho sila in the essence na hindi ka lang iisang beses magdi-dilute. Okay, marami kang beses magdi-dilute. Gano'ng kadami, it depends on the procedure or kung ano man yung gusto mong ma-reach na dilution. The only difference between these two would be compound dilution, you do several dilutions using different dilution factors in each tube. Okay, when you say serial dilution, you do several dilutions using the same or common dilution factors. Okay, so pag compound, different dilution factors. Kapag serial dilution, same or common dilution factors. Okay, kung maliwanag na po iyon, pwede na po tayo magpunta sa susunod na part ng paliwanag. By the way, for tonight, medyo maikli lang ang ating tutorial, no? Ito lang ang ating i-discuss for tonight. Okay, nga pala, bakit ka ba gagamit ng compound and serial dilution? Okay? Kapag gumamit ka kasi ng compound dilution, pwede ka makatipid sa reagent. For example, you need to do a 1:500 dilution for a certain assay. So, kunwari, sabihin ng manufacturer's kit na, ay, kailangan 1:500 ang dilution. So, you have two ways to do that. Okay? Number one is you mix 0.1 ml of the patient's serum so 49.9 ml of the diluent. For example, NSS ang ating diluent. So, pag kinuha natin yung dilution nito, you just use the formula that we have mentioned earlier. Sabi natin ang dilution is sample over sample plus diluent. Okay? So, that would be 0.1 over 0.1 plus 49.9. Pag ating inad yun, that would be 0.1 over 50. Kaya lang sabi natin, hindi tayo pwedeng decimal sa ating fraction. So, from the decimal, we make it a whole number. So, sabi natin last time, from kung ilang beses tayo nag-move ng decimal place, that would be the number of zeros. Okay? So, ang 0.1, para maging whole number, we move 1 decimal place. So, si 0.1 magiging 1. And then si 50, since nagdagdag tayo ng isa, magdadagdag din tayo sa baba, that would be 1:500. So, nakuha natin yung gusto natin na dilution kasi sabi sa assay 1:500. Okay, kaya lang kung titignan mo, uy, grabe ka naman, 0.1 ml serum, tas 49.9 ml na NSS. Paano kung 100 pasyente yung gagawan mo ng ganitong dilution? Nagsayang ka ng NSS. Okay, so 49.9 ml ang gagamitin mo para lang magkaroon ka ng 1:500 na dilution. Okay? Wait lang, mamaya kayo mag-chat kasi naka-Facebook live tayo. Okay? Whereas, kung gusto rin natin siya ma-achieve, pwede naman tayo mag-compound dilution. When we say again compound dilution, we just do a series of dilution, pero iba't iba ang dilution factor. So, ang ulit ha, sa mga ngayon palang nanonood, ang gusto daw natin makuha ay 1:500 na dilution. Pwedeng ito, yung step number 1, kung saan gagamit ka ng 49.9 ml of NSS, tapos asamahan mo ng 0.1 ml ng patient's serum. Pero, ang mas magandang gawin para mas makatipid tayo sa reagents, mag-compound dilution. Okay? Sa tube number 1 daw, ang gagawin natin, kukuha tayo ng 0.1 ml of patient's serum. So, lagay natin yan sa tube. And, samahan daw natin ng 0.4 ml na NSS. Okay? Knowing from our formula, para makompute po ito, 0.1 ml over 0.1 plus 0.4, ang total dilution natin for this tube is 1:5. Gets? Kung hindi mag-gets, balik sa kabang video, aralin kung paano magsisimple dilution. Okay? So, for the tube 1, ang ating nagawang dilution ay 1:5. Okay? And then the next step is that you have to get a sample from this tube. Ang ating dilution for this is 1:5. So, next step, kukuha daw tayo ng 0.1 ml again and put it in the next tube. In the next tube, ang laman na diluent natin 0.9. Okay? May naghihintay na NSS sa second tube na 0.9. Tapos, kumuha tayo ng 0.1 ml of serum from the first tube going to the second tube. So, if pinakompute sa'yo ngayon kung magkano ang dilution ng tube letter B, then you say, ay, ganito po yan. 0.1 ang ating serum. Sorry, this is dapat NSS to. Okay, 0.1 ml serum over 0.1 plus 0.9. And again, kung medyo nahuhuli ka, balik ka sa unang video para mag-gets mo kung paano mag-compute ng simple dilution. For this tube, ang dilution natin ay 1:10. Okay, 1:10. Okay? So, second tube, ang ating dilution ay 1:10. The next part is get 0.1 ml again from this tube and put it in your third tube. So, tube letter C, mayroon naghihintay na again 0.9 ml ng NSS. Nagdagdag ka ng 0.1 na serum. Check for the dilution. Again, 0.1 serum plus 0.9 ml NSS. Pag pinagsama natin dalawa, ang dilution natin ay 1:10. Okay, so again, as a summary, kumuha tayo ng sample from the patient, 0.1, sinamahan natin ng 0.4 ml ng NSS, nilagay natin sa tube number 1. Ang ginawa natin dilution, 1:5. Ang sunod natin ginawa, kumuha tayo ng 0.1 dito, dinala natin sa pangalawang tube. Sa pangalawang tube, bukod sa serum na nilagay natin, nagdagdag daw tayo ng 0.9 ml na NSS. So, yung tube dilution natin in this tube, letter B, is 1:10. Okay? And then you get again 0.1 from here and then put it on your third tube and then mix again with 0.9 ml NSS. In essence, from this tube, dinilute natin siya ng dinilute using different dilution factors. Okay? So, sabi natin last time, kapag ganun, or kung hindi ko man nabanggit, pag ilang beses, pag hindi iisang beses ka nag-dilute, or for more than one time ka nag-dilute, you have to multiply all the dilution factors that you use to get the final dilution. So, from tube 1, sabi natin, ang ating dilution ay 1:5. So, we get 5. And then, tube 2 is 1:10. Tube 3 is 1:10. Para malaman natin ang final dilution na naggawa natin, 5 times 10 times 10 is 500. Okay? So, kung iisipin natin, mas maganda talaga na compound dilution na lang ang gawin kasi ang ginastos mo lang na NSS in total is 0.4, 0.9, and 0.9 versus kung ito ang gagamitin mo, gumamit ka ng halos 50 ml na NSS para lang sa iisang pasyente. So, very cost effective kung nag-compound dilution ka. Okay? Kasi dito, isang 1:500 din naman ang nakuha natin, pero dito, konting reagents lang, nakuha din naman natin ang 1:500 na dilution. Nagets nyo po ba ang ibig sabihin ng compound dilution at ang use nito sa buhay natin bilang medtech? Okay? Kasi hindi sa lahat ng mga assays or kits na ginagamit natin or mga methods na ginagamit natin in the lab, kailangan single use lang or one time lang ang dilution. So, sometimes, we are required to do compound dilution. Okay? Now, sabi natin kanina, compound and serial. So, okay na tayo sa compound. Let us move on to the serial dilution. Sabi natin kanina, ang ating serial dilution, ang pinagkaiba lang niya sa ating compound dilution is the dilution factor. Kapag sinabi mong serial dilution, you use a common na dilution factor. Okay? So, in a serial dilution, syempre, when in the word series naman, may series of tubes ka. Okay? Never may drawing muna. Okay? Kasi, hindi tayo masyadong high-tech. So, this is my iPad. Literal na pad. Okay? This is actually a sketchbook. Pero hindi man ako marunong mag-drawing ng pang-sketch ng mga ganyan-ganyan. So, dito na lang natin ilagay ko ano man yung gusto nating aralin. Okay? So, serial dilution, wala pa akong joke for tonight. Wala akong maisip na joke. I'm so tired. Pero sabi nga ni Tristan, nag-comment siya na sleep is lesser than what? Nakalimutan ko na. Or whatever. Okay? We have a series of tube. Okay? And then, sa lahat ng tubes na isinet up natin, meron ng same amount of diluent. So, dito sa drawing ko, I have a series of 6 tubes. Lahat sila nilagyan ko na ng 1 ml na NSS. Okay? And then, what I will do is that get a sample from the patient and then put it on the tube number 1. Okay? For example, kumuha ako ng 1 ml of serum from the patient. I put it on tube number 1. Okay? I compute the dilution. And again, sabi natin, to compute for the dilution, the formula is sample over sample plus diluent. So, 1 ml of sample plus 1 ml of, over 1 ml of sample plus 1 ml of diluent. The dilution that we just did is 1:2. Okay? 1:2. And then, the next thing you do is get a 1 ml from here, from tube number 1, and put it again on the second tube. Okay? Ang essence kasi, dinidilute mo siya, pinapakonti mo siya. Okay? Usually, serial dilution is done to get the titer or the antibodies strength. Pero for tonight, hindi ko muna i-discuss ang titer. Some other time na lang. Okay? I'll just discuss how serial dilution is usually done. Nawala. Okay? Ulit. So, sa tube number 1, ang setup ko, may 1 ml ako ng NSS. Kumuha ako ng 1 ml na serum from my patient. Those red marks here are supposedly antibodies. Kunwari lang. Okay? Para lang maipakita natin na kada lipat natin sa bawat tube, napapakonti natin siya na napapakonti, nadidilute siya. Okay? So, sa tube number 1, ang ginawa nating dilution ay 1:2. And then we did transfer 1 ml from tube number 1 and put it on tube number 2. So, the dilution again has to be computed. Kung nagdagdag ka ng 1 ml ng serum, tapos may naghihintay na 1 ml ng NSS, anong dilution mo? Again, basic formula. Dilution is equal to sample over sample plus diluent. Nagdagdag ka ng 1 ml na sample, may 1 ml na diluent. Still, the number 2 tube has a dilution of 1:2. Okay? So, kaya siya series kasi, mula sa umpisa hanggang sa huli, ang ginagawa natin dilution factor ay 1:2. Pero, dahil ang kinuha nating sample ay galing sa tube number 1, at ang tube number 1 ay na-dilute na mismo, again, i-multiply natin yun. So, 1:2 times 1:2, ang final dilution ng tube number 2 would be 1:4. So, nagkaroon ka ng 2-fold dilution. Okay? So, again, the next step is na-mix mo na yan. Okay? Na-mix mo na yan. Kukuha ka ngayon ng 1 ml from this tube and transfer it again on tube number 3. Okay? So, may naghihintay ka ulit dito na 1 ml ng NSS, nagdagdag ka ng sample na 1 ml, ganun ulit. Compute mo yung dilution niya. 1 over 1 plus 1 ulit. Again, the tube dilution is 1:2. Okay? Pero dahil galing tayo sa tube number 2 na ang final dilution ay 1:4, we have to multiply this dilution by 1:4. So, 1:2 ang ating tube dilution, kaya lang yung sample natin ay na-dilute na ng 1:4. So, 1:2 times 1:4, ang ating dilution sa tube number 3 is 1:8. Kung nagigets nyo yung pattern, nagkakaroon lang siya ng twofold dilution. Okay, nadadagdagan lang siya ng twofold rise. Okay? So, again, ganun ulit. Tapusin natin hanggang tube number 6. Kuha ka ng 1 ml dito sa tube number 3. Lagay mo sa tube number 4 kung saan nandun na ulit ang iyong 1 ml ng NSS. 1 ml ng sample, 1 ml ng NSS. Ang dilution mo ulit na ginawa ay 1:2. And since galing ka sa tube number 3 na ang dilution ay 1:8, you have to multiply 1:2 by 1:8. You get 1:16. And so on and so forth. So, in here, hanggang sa naging tube number 6 tayo, nagto-twofold dilution tayo, ang final dilution ng tube number 6 is 1:64. Okay? Kung mapapansin mo, wait lang, medyo nagiging blurry yung image eh. So, kung mapapansin mo sa drawing ko rito, marami pa tayong antibodies, kaya lang kasi dinilute natin siya. Tapos 1 ml lang yung kinuha natin, nilagay natin sa pangalawang tube. Sa drawing ko, medyo mas kumonte. Hanggang sa kumonte, ng kumonte, ng kumonte, ng kumonte. At kung magdodrawing pa ako ng isang tube dito, halos mawala na. Okay? So, ito ay ginagamit natin sa pagdetermine ng titer. Okay? Pero sabi ko nga kanina, ipapaliwanag ko ang titer pag na-gets nyo na, ng talagang gets na gets ang serial dilution. And again, in each tube, we did a 1:2 dilution. Okay? Kaya ang tawag natin sa serial dilution na to ay twofold. Twofold serial dilution. Kung ano yung sinabing number, yun yung gagamitin mong dilution factor. Okay? Kapag sinabing twofold, edi 1:2. Kung sinabi niyan threefold, edi 1:3. Fourfold, edi 1:4. Tenfold, 1:10. The essence is in each tube, you use the same dilution factor. Pero dahil nagkakaroon ka ng unang dilution sa pinaggalingan yung tube, you have to multiply. Kasi nga, when you do dilution more than once, you have to multiply to get the final dilution. Okay? May shortcut tayo dyan. And shortcut na ito magagamit mo lang kung sasabihin ng problem sa'yo na you have to start number 1 with that dilution. Okay, katulad nito, sinabi natin, ang ginawa natin sa setup number 1 ay 1 ml na ng serum, tsaka 1 ml na ng NSS. Minsan kasi, may mga nagdi-dilute na ang setup nila, yung tube number 1, ang laman lang, yung serum mismo. Undiluted. Okay, so kapag sinabing undiluted yung tube number 1, wala siyang dilution. So, saka lang siya madidilute pag transfer mo na siya sa susunod na tube na naglalaman ng, okay lang, kumonte daw ng kumonte, parang nagmamahal sa kanya. Okay. Anyway, asa na nga ako? Nawala ako sa hugot mo, Naksika. Asa na ba tayo? Ito. Itong shortcut na to, magagamit mo lang kapag ang setup yung sinabi natin, tube number 1, may dilution na. Hindi mo siya magagamit kung ang sinabi sa'yo, tube number 1 is undiluted. Okay? Pero usually naman, ang setup sa tube number 1, nakapag-dilute ka na. Okay? Yun na yung simula. Kung lang sa exam, kailangan malaman, basahin mo maigi kung ano yung itinatanong. Okay? Kung ano yung tinatanong, kung sinabi bang undiluted or diluted na agad. Pero kung sa totoong buhay, usually kasi ang ginagawa or whatever, kung nag-work kayo, kung ano man yung nakasanayan nyo, pag nagsimula ka sa tube number 1, usually, kung ano yung fold na ginamit, that's the base. And then you raise it to the number of the tube. Kasi usually, ang mga tanong sa exams, pang local man or international man, sasabihin sa'yo, in a twofold serial dilution, what is the final dilution in tube number 6? Parang ganon. Pero syempre, hindi ka bibigyan ng drawing. Okay? By words lang yun. And alangan naman mag-drawing ka pa, time limited ang exam. Pero okay lang naman kahit mag-drawing ka kung medyo mabilis ka naman. Pero for shortcut, you just put the dilution, the fold. Pag sinabing twofold, edit 2. Tapos kung ano number yung tinatanong yung tube. So kung kunwari sabi niya, ano ang final dilution sa tube number 6, then solve for 2 raised to the power of 6. Kung may calculator ka dyan, check mo kung ayaw mo maniwala. The answer is 64. Okay? 2 raised to the power of 6. Halimbawa naman, sabihin sa'yo, in a threefold serial dilution. Okay? So, threefold serial dilution, what is the final dilution in tube number 2? Kunwari, para hindi masyadong mahirap mag-mental math. Naku po, baka mapahiya ako, te. So, sabi niya, threefold. So, ang ating base ay 3. Tapos, isusulat natin dito ang ating tube number. So, sabi niya, second tube. Okay? 3 raised to the power of 2 is 9. 3 times 3, 9. Okay? Kinabahan ako dun. So, that would be your final dilution. Okay? So, again, that is a shortcut. Madali kung sabihin sa'yo, tenfold. Tenfold, tapos power of, kung ano man ang final dilution sa tube number 15. Okay? E di lagyan mo lang ng 15 zeros. Yun na yun. Okay? So, if ever there are questions, I am free to be contacted. And if you have time and you want to study more, just browse my video album sa aking Facebook profile. Naka-upload po lahat ng live doon. And again, ate kuya, kung ikaw ay nag-aaral na, okay, intern ka pa lang, or nagsisimula ka pa lang, or magbo-board exam ka sa August, or international exam, this will help you. And even in real life, this will help you. Okay? So, dilution is one of the most basic that we do, kaya kailangan alam na alam mo to. Okay? So, ngayon, ang ating summary of what we have learned is, again, wait lang. Ang summary ng pinag-aralan natin for tonight is that dilution is computed by sample over total volume or sample over sample plus diluent. Dilution factor, yung tinatawag natin dilution factor, is the reciprocal of the dilution ratio. May dalawa pang klase ng dilution bukod dun sa simple. Sabi natin, simple kapag isang beses ka lang nag-dilute. Compound or serial pag maraming beses. Ang pinagkaiba ng compound sa serial ay yung paggamit sa dilution factors. Pag different ang dilution factors in each tube, that is called compound dilution. Kapag same or common dilution factor ang ginamit natin for all the tubes, that is a serial dilution. Okay? So, compound dilution is the same as serial dilution. In each tube, kukomputin mo kung ano yung dilution na ginamit, and then i-multiply mo kung ano yung mga ginamit mong dilution factors para makuha mo yung total or final concentration. Sa serum naman, serial dilution naman, in each tube, compute mo ulit. So, sabi natin, same nga lang yan, and then multiply kung ano yung pinanggalingan niyang tube. Okay? If there are questions, again, you may ask me and we will just finish by tonight. Okay? So, next week siguro, iniisip ko, weekly na lang natin to gagawin para mas makabawas dun sa ating load. Pero ate kuya ha, wag niyo po ako gawing tagagawa ng homework nyo. So, yung mga nagtatanong sa akin about this and that na sa tingin ko naman, kaya man maaralin mag-isa. Pasensya na po, hindi lahat ay mai-discuss online. I just choose topic na medyo mas mahirap-hirap maintindihan para po sa nagsisimula. Okay? Huwag po tayo mag-practice ng katamaran. Kailangan po sipagan natin kasi buhay ng tao ang hawak po natin bilang mga medtech. And yes, mabuhay po ang lahat ng medtech sa buong mundo and we rock. Good night everyone. Wala akong joke for tonight. Next time na lang. Have a safe night. Bye-bye. God bless you all.